Allora, Rupert, io volevo chiederti, hai lavorato con tantissimi registi, da Michele Soavi dell'Italia a Ridley Scott. C'è qualcuno da cui hai imparato qualcosa di particolare, qualcosa di speciale?
Um, sì, il mio preferito regista era P.J. Hogan, credo, perché io e lui siamo divenuti grandi amici e, we had a very nice relationship. But ogni
Ogni
regista
regista.
aveva una cosa di imparare, to teach. These are very difficult questions to answer in Italian.
Yes, no problem in English.
So I think I have to answer. Well, time is a huge thing, particularly for actors, because an actor always, you become successful as a young person, and then you have to try and make it work for yourself as you get older and less alluring. And I think for me, the time has been good. I've been happier as a person as I got older. In fact, not necessarily in cinema, because I don't feel so happy about show business now. But personally, I feel good about time. But it's exciting to be in films that are 40 years old and 30 years old. In Rome, we had the 30-year anniversary of Della Morte dell'Amore, and ho fatto un nuovo copia digital,
Digitale, restauro.
and we all met again 30 years later at the theatre, at the cinema, and that's always amusing. Some people are dead, which is always, a strange thought, especially when you then go and see a film that you haven't probably seen for 20, 30 years. It's like opening up a wound or something. It's very touching and sweet, and it makes you feel that your life has been worth something, because films are amazing like that to see years later. Because they have a different feeling, they change. They're rather like wine. Un film può essere come vino. Vino non è buono dopo 2 anni, e dopo 10 anni you discover something different about a film, or something new about it, or something fresh that wasn't there before, which is it makes it quite mysterious thing in a way. I think since we're talking about cinema and our business, I think one of the problems is that nothing really has the same soul as before, because now everything is possible. If you want to make a series that references Scorsese, you can do it. You don't even have to do anything. You can just type it into the computer. When you think of for example, cinema italiano negli anni 50, you went to the cinema to see the new film by Truffaut, the new film by Visconti. Everybody had a different perspective, and there was so much less product that everything was more exciting, and everything was much more seriously worked. Because even when you imagine, for example, editing a film in the old days, when you had a sound reel, a film reel, not very much money, when you cut it, you knew, you decided before starting the film what every edit was going to be, because there wasn't money to just edit and edit and edit. And timing, you decided how long every scene was going to be. So the director of a film really had the whole of his film in his vision, and everything was drawn out. So that's an art form. Now, and by the way, I'm guilty of it. Now, everything's digital, so you can try anything, you can do everything, but it's a different thing. It's like it's not so thought, and it's not so. I don't think it has the same soul. And then it's become so politicized. Everything is political. heterosexuality is political, homosexuality is political, Me Too is political, race is political. You can't tell a story about an evil black person or an evil froccia. It has to be, everything has to be politically correct. And this is a disaster and very boring. And in the end, when you turn on Netflix or Amazon and you watch a series, they're all very good. They're all brilliantly, beautifully made, well acted, designed, a la whoever. But for me, they're just, it's become, it doesn't have the value that it had before. Now, maybe that's because I'm old and I don't get very much work. So it could be that as well. And also because now we've married all this, everything is possible. Everyone must follow their dream. All these hopeless ideas, so that young people are educated just to follow a dream, not really to do any work, just to have a dream and follow. And I think that's completely different to how things were in my era. Because if you had a dream to be an actor in my epoca, there was a lot of work you were forced to do by the sindicato to start with. You couldn't get a job even unless you got a membership of the sindicato. And once you got a membership of the sindicato, you were obliged to work in the provincial theatre for 2 or 3 years before you were allowed to do anything else. So the work you had to do to follow your dream was much more difficult. It was more, and I think it was better. I think, and also now we have a culture of victimization. Everyone is a victim. And I think this is very bad too. When I was young, everyone was a survivor. Now everybody is a victim. And I think being a victim is very hard work. It's not that easy. It looks like it's fun, but it doesn't. Nothing happens once you're a victim. So those are my main things that I don't like. But there are also, we've all never been richer in Europe. But anyway, now it looks like the whole thing is over because we've arrived at a kind of standstill point where we're like Hamlet in Shakespeare. Hamlet's problem is he can't act. He can't say, he knows what he has to do, but he can't do it. So in Europe, we know what we have to do, but we can't do it. We're enthralled to this European Commission. And by the way, I wasn't somebody, I was very against Brexit. I think it's a disaster for our country. But at the same time, who is Ursula von Anden? Why is she in control of all our countries? It's not right. We should all be in control of our countries, and we should be doing things instead of everything is run by a lobby or a group, and nothing ever happens. So we're stagnant, and I think it looks like it's the end of the Roman Empire Mark II. And when you look at the end of the Roman Empire, which is so fascinating, the 4th century, Christianity plays the same role as wokeness in a way. Christianity was such a new concept to Romans, but of the idea that the poor people are the ones who are most important and stuff like that. The Romans hadn't got a clue about that. And wokeness is rather the same to today's world. And they start off as a small group, but then they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then they turn into mad Taliban-like Puritans. And that's so we're seeing the structure of our Western culture is basically being destroyed. And also because we, as people of my generation who kind of leant towards the left, actually we're also responsible because we're self-hating. The English hate England, the Italians hate Italy, the French hate France. So there's nothing to do at that point. If there's no one going to defend the places, then the barbarians get in, and that's it. That's what I think, anyway.
The last question for me è: qual è l'importanza dei festival oggi, secondo lei?
I think anything that's about communication is really important now, because we're so obsessed by everything. Reality is only the telephone for most people. So anything that's to do with us all discussing is important. And you see how dangerous that's become now, because now in the world where everyone's obsessed by the telephone, you say one thing wrong to someone and they can't believe that you said it. So I think the more we are all together discussing, however difficult it is or however embarrassing or violent, it's better than this separate little individual worlds that everybody is in on the telephone. So I think a festival is so important, and this is a great one because it's an opportunity to see what the young people are doing, and to be inspired by their enthusiasm for the beginnings of their careers. That's amazing to watch as an older person. I think that's lovely. So it's very important, I think. Finalmente sì, perché sono ossessionato del mio lavoro. Provo sempre di fare il mio secondo film. È molto difficile, il cinema indipendente europeo è quasi finito, è quasi impossibile trovare i soldi, ma it's my thing. I can't stop. I can never give up. So I am enthusiastic, but not in a good way, really. I'm enthusiastic in a nasty way. So, lots of things that I found very difficult. For example, I wish I'd been a bit older when I worked for Francesco Rosi, because I found working for him so difficult. I found my role so difficult. It wasn't difficult. I got it all. I found everything so difficult when I was young, which I don't now in acting. I kind of know how to do it now. And so there are lots of roles that I sometimes see myself in if I see them again and think, oh, I wish I'd known how to do that better. But I don't think there's one personality that I thought, oh, this is great. I loved. I liked very much. I made some English films playing a schoolmistress, a lady schoolmistress, which I liked very much, and I liked working with PJ Hogan on a film called Unconditional Love very much, and I kind of enjoy everything really now, and I kind of I feel I know finally what I'm doing, sort of, as an actor, but I think I've enjoyed everything. I loved working in the Italian part of my career, because it was the side of me aesthetically. That's where I learned. I think I made quite a good. I suppose my best performance is when I directed myself. I made a film called The Happy Prince, and that's the thing I feel most excited about. But because that film, everything in my life came together for that film, and that film would never have been how it was if I hadn't worked in Italy. Because if I hadn't met Gianni Quaranta, Pasqualino De Santis, all these technicians, Italian technicians from the Belle Epoque of Italian cinema, and Maurizio Milinotti, who made my costumes, and seeing that kind of design and how music, Italian music, Morricone, Nino Rota, all those people, what they added to films and how Italian cinema looked was, I think, something very important to me. And I had a bit of that at the end of a Belle Epoque with Franco Rosi, and also Michele Soavi. He was a brilliant director of image. I think his version of a cartoon, Fumetto, was the best one of all international cinema. Because if you look at Dick Tracy, for example, a film made with $200 million of a cartoon, it's very bad. Whereas ours, which was all made with old Italian traditional kind of special effects, has a integrity to it and an imaginative side, and a brilliant realization of Tiziano Sclavi's kind of what's it called, Tenebroso side. I think it was a wonderful, wonderful adaptation of a cartoon. Brilliant achievement. It's great that that there is less stigma with being gay or a lesbian or trans, and you have an opportunity more to work in the cinema. What I don't like is that then with that great thing, if you are homosexual, you have to play a kind of saint. You can't play a character who is a serial killer if you were in a homosexual role in a film, because everyone goes, oh no, this is such a bad image for homosexuality. But so that makes it a little bit. Then it becomes a bit boring. Everyone becomes a kind of cardboard cutout, and but so it's a work in progress. But I think it's essentially great. But I just think we have to be able to not be politically correct about everything. And also the more politically correct you get, the more victimized everyone feels anyway. So what always amazes me is that young gay people feel that their life is really difficult for them. And from my point of view, I can't really understand that, because it is much easier in a way. There's much more opportunity. For example, if you're a young gay actor, there's tons more opportunity than there was when I was young and gay. But it's a one of the sides of our world now is that everybody is feeling oppressed, and this is I think that's a thing we have to try and work on, because we are sitting here in the West now with the best lifestyle, the best medicine. I mean, we complain about everything, the best everything. We've never lived so well, any of us in our countries, in Italy, England, but we're miserable, and we're paranoid, and we think but it's odd, and I think if there's anything we could change, that would be great, to feel a bit more fabulous about how, I live in Brazil a lot. Being poor in Brazil is really really being poor. What we call poverty in England is not the same thing. It's not good either. I'm not saying it's good, but it's we have a quality of life here. I think that we've turned on, because we want more and more and more, and nothing is enough. Seems to me slightly.
Yeah, the same opinion.
But I think it's good. I think it's wonderful that more people are working, and I just think that the product has got the writers. Popular music also has got very dreary, very boring, and the writing is very boring. That we're presented with mostly. There's very little. You think, oh my God, it's either so violent you can't watch it, or it's so politically correct that it's just boring. There's nothing in between. There's nothing just that's fun. Even comedy is so careful now. Comedy, particularly, this is not funny. Yeah, it's just no longer funny. I mean, one thing that's good about being Italian is you don't have it as badly as the rest of us in Europe. You still have a side here where that is still politically. You're like Australia in a way. In Australia, they're still quite politically incorrect. If you wanted to do something very dangerous, you should try and do it in Australia, probably. But Italy has some of that too, which is great. But I think the UK, France, and America, at the moment, they're just in a very dreary place. That's what I feel anyway. But I'm not I'm not standing for any office, so it's not necessarily correct. But that's what I think.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you so
guys.
much.
Thanks for the height of the camera.